Hey, everybody, welcome to the Couch Live. Here we are. I am the street certified dope doctor, Louis Delgado, here with you. And this is Couch Live. 1999 is when it started. It's a show that focuses on addiction and recovery and all things in between. 1999. And here we are in our 26th season. And I wanted to introduce someone very new to you, people here at WOKB 1680 AM and FM 100.7 FM here in the Central Florida area. That's how you're listening to us. Other people probably listening on YouTube, podcast, I don't know, Facebook, something like that. But let me introduce you to my new co-host for the 26th season. It's JoJo. What's up, JoJo?
What's up,
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? It's Friday.
It is Friday. It's and I listen. I love doing the shows on Friday. Now, when they play this on radio, it'll be a Monday. But I love doing the shows on a Friday. To be honest with
Okay,
you, yeah.
got you. Yes, I say it's funny when I do say Friday because I
hmm
still work on weekend, but I still feel good when it's Friday. Weird,
So you work
right?
weekends, but you still celebrate Fridays?
Yeah. I guess
Yeah.
I'm still used to the normal Monday to Friday life, but then again, I'm
Right.
not. I don't know. None of that makes sense. But happy
Well, the
Friday.
well the word Friday just has a fun sound to it. That's what it is. It's Friday.
That's
But
part of
anyway,
it.
let's get started with at least saying what happened because we're in the 26th season, and for those that don't know, I mean this show has been going on since 1999. It started right here in Central Florida, Orange County area. The now Mayor Demings of Orange County had a lot to do with it. He had a different role in our community at the time. I was doing regular radio at the time, along with my counseling practice, and I got asked to do a show focused on addiction and recovery, which I thought was really cool. I had no problem doing it. We had an opioid epidemic in 1999, just like we had one recently. We're still in one now, but we had one back in 1999, and I thought it'd be a good thing to do. So we started it, and man, I've had a lot of different co-hosts throughout the years, JoJo. It started with just me, and the captain was my producer. We've been on a lot of different radio stations in the Central Florida area, and then I think I had a guy named Hector as a co-host at one time. Tinker Cooper, love Tinker Cooper. Tinker Cooper, uh, man, just a beautiful soul. Did our show for many years, and we were on there with Hector. Let me see who else. We went through a period where we had Denise Solis. You might remember Denise Solis. She's a Backstreet Boys mom of Alex McLean. It was awesome having her. Loved having her, but then she moved out west. She moved to Vegas on me. And we didn't have this It wasn't the technology wasn't like this back then. We'd all be in the studio back in the day. So her moving to Las Vegas put a big kibosh on that. Had Dr. Hoffman. Well, before Dr. Hoffman was Dr. Oh my God! Wow! Oh my God! Can you? I've just had a. Well, let's talk about Doctor. I had Dr. Kent Hoffman, obviously, as a co-host. Um, Schultz, Dr. George Schultz, my great friend, Dr. George Schultz, was my co-host for the live TV version. That's when we were
Mm.
live on TV in Orange County, and that was Dr. George Schultz. Unfortunately, he contracted cancer, passed away from cancer years ago. Um, and
Oh,
then and then we had Trinity for like man, Trinity was my co-host on the Couch Live for over 10 years. So then we transitioned to Dope and Dharma. So I don't know what's happening with Dope. Those who are watching say, where's Trinity? Well, Dope and Dharma, it's really like it's a different show. So we'll see what happens with Dope and Dharma. Still trying to nail that down with Trinity and kind of see what we do with Dope and Dharma. But as far as the Couch Live, that has to keep going regardless. And this is the 26th season, JoJo, 26th season of the Couch Live, and I welcome you seriously, JoJo. I met you. What'd you say? 2013 is when I met you. You said.
2013.
All
My
right. So
mind says 2011, but matter of fact, it is 2011 because I got my master's 2012. So it's even longer than what I said last week.
oh,
It's 2011.
okay. All right. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because I think you're one of those people. Again, like I said on the last show, that I really enjoyed meeting. I love finding all stars. I like seeking out people that I feel belong in this business of helping people, of being special for people, somebody that can help someone walk through that path because we meet so many people that are on that edge of dying, right?
Mhm.
they're in a lot of pain. A lot of people have gone through a lot of trauma. And so to find someone that you feel like, now that's somebody I feel confident connecting my own family member to, should my family member have an issue. And you're that kind of person. You're that kind of person that I'd say, I don't mind connecting my family member to this person, should my family member have an issue. And those are the kind of those are the kind of referrals I prefer. I mean, it's hard to refer somebody to a program or to a person that, I mean, you wouldn't even send your own kid to. So if you're not going to send your kid to it, why would you send anyone else's kid to it? So,
Okay.
but you're that kind of all-star for me, to be honest with you. And so I really love that here we are, 14 years later, and getting to do this together. Now, we did Lemon Squeeze together a few
We
years
did.
back. I produced a show for you called Lemon Squeeze, which I thought was phenomenal. And again, we
I
didn't
know.
have this technology like this. We had to actually go into the studio back then and do
And then
things.
we had COVID.
Yes.
COVID
And
took
then
over.
COVID really is what smacked us all around for a while.
Yeah,
And that
that
really
was fun.
changed a lot of things. Yeah, that was fun. And
Yeah.
so here we are, post COVID. We're still dealing with post COVID, but now the new post COVID is that we could do this radio show like this,
Yeah.
from our own places. I'm here at a Surf Monkey Studios in New Smyrna Beach. The Dojo, actually, is what we call this place. It's the Dojo. And you're somewhere different, right?
Yes, I'm home.
All right. You're home. I love your home. Love your home. All right. So let's get to meet JoJo. So JoJo, give us a little bit about you. Who you be.
Who I be? Well, I'm JoJo. Like you said, I've been in this industry for a extremely long time. I started out in the direct service area of substance abuse treatment, as you know, with colonial counseling. Then I moved on to work directly with the court from the other side of the world. So, drug court counselor slash court liaison, and then
Mm-hmm.
went to coordinator. So, had a different experience working with the treatment providers versus being the treatment provider. From
Right.
then, I went to work for the county as senior program manager over programs such as Great Oaks Village, Youth Shelter, Florida Preservations, the SNAP program. I can go on about that. And then what landed me? Yeah, I worked for Bridges a little while. I took a break, to be honest with you, because I went through a season in my life where my son was getting into trouble, and
Okay.
I had I was putting so many hours into being a senior leader for the county that my son started falling through the cracks. And I went
That
through
happens.
a right. And I went through this season where it's like I'm helping all these families, all these kids, and I can't even help my own. I couldn't save my own. So I
Mm-hmm.
left on the social services, behavioral health um, industry for a couple years. And then Bridges, actually, one of the directors, reached out to me
Mm-hmm.
to come and help their program. And I was like, no, I'm done with that life. It's over. Find somebody else. And she called me probably like 4 times. And for the fourth time, I was like, okay, I'll help out.
See,
I still do
persistence
time.
works,
Yes.
people.
And then I
Yes,
ended
it
up
is.
falling back into the industry. Fast
Mm-hmm.
forward, I opened up my agency organization last year. We're
Mm-hmm.
a year and a month now.
Mm-hmm.
Limitless and Infinite Transformations, which
Yep.
a combination of mental health counseling and substance abuse outpatient therapy. So it's a little bit about me as far as career wise.
Right,
Now,
right, right. That's who you are now. That's who you are
yes,
now. But you know what I find interesting when we tell stories about who we are now is people find it very difficult to believe who we were, right? Like, we can say it all day long and people are like, yeah, I can't have what you have. My life is not as good as yours. I don't have your scenario. This is what I got going on with me. So, good for you, but that's not my experience. And what they don't always get is that, well, it wasn't always mine either. I mean, what you see today wasn't where I came from. This is what I've worked to get, and not saying that other people that don't have it aren't working. It's just this is the results of my efforts. You know what I mean? And you're probably seeing the best parts of it. It's not like we air the worst parts of our efforts. I mean, that would be just ridiculous. Who wants to see all the worst parts of your efforts, right? They want to see or you want to present, positive messaging and positive output. But if we're on a one-to-one with someone, which we do in our business, when we sit one-to-one with somebody and we're relating with them, sometimes we expose a little bit more of their
Right.
ugliness than we would
Hmm.
publicly. And so this is where I walk carefully when I speak to anybody. And since this is our intro show of JoJo, this is where I don't know how much of the ugly part of your world prior to being the JoJo that you just explained, that you
Hmm.
want to talk about. So
Okay.
knowing that, knowing
Hmm.
that I'm going to walk carefully, JoJo, because this is your life, and we need to respect everybody's life. You know what I mean? We need to respect everybody's journey. I just want to ask you, like, why this business of all businesses? And you are a businesswoman. I've known you for quite a long time, like we've talked about, and I've known you. You and I have share that hustler mentality. We come from hustles in the past, right? And to somebody out there, maybe they look at the word hustler as a negative thing. I've never really looked at it as a negative thing. I looked at it like it was a training ground for
Hmm.
me that I was able to flip into positive. But going into that, what inspired you to do this? Why this?
Hmm. That's okay. Let's see, because we can go different lanes. So I
You can
will
go wherever
say
you
this.
want with it.
All right, let's do it. So it's kind of a two-way street. So when I was a little girl,
Mhm,
I was into uh, psychology. And so
mhm,
there was this book called What Makes You Tick. It's probably 100 years old. But I used to go around with this book. It had an assessment, and I would have this hypothesis of, what your personality type was. And then I would give you this 50-word assessment and see if I'm right. And so
mm,
that was my truth. I'm going to be a psychologist one day. And so then that happened. Then, of course, life happens and you forget all about who you said you were going to be at 8 years old. Right.
mm,
So, well, at least I did. And
mm,
so the other side of it is that I was a school teacher. I taught at a supplement school, actually New Beginnings in Kissimmee, Florida. And I found myself doing more therapy than teaching. Like, for example, I had 68 students. I was middle school English. And I remember three parents coming for open house.
mhm,
Um, Also, like I said, I did more therapy than teaching, and so there was a student of mine who he was having a bad weekend. So I gave him this
mhm,
book called The Secret, and a week later he comes to me and he tells me the book saved his life because he was going to
mm.
commit suicide that weekend. And
Wow.
so from that point, I made the decision to go and pursue my master's degree in mental health counseling. And
Mm,
between that and the other is what landed me into the industry truly.
okay. All right. So now when you say, you know, that you even read the book, The Secret, I've heard of it. Obviously, there's things that I've said that people sometimes would think that I read it, but I didn't. So there must be some really interesting things in there that are reflective. There's things in there that help, inspire us, open us up to do better, um, to have a better understanding of this process of life. Why did you pick up the book in the first place, and or why did it get recommended to you if it was?
Now, this is the funny. I never read the book either.
Ah, I
I'm
love it.
sorry, who the author is. I never read the book.
We're
It
a
was
lot more alike than I thought.
right. It was, it was during that time where The Secret was the secret. Like, everyone's like, you got to read The Secret.
Well, you
So
hear
I
the
had,
excerpts, you hear the little pieces, right?
right. So I bought the book, but I had not read the book. And
I
for
love it.
some reason, that was on my spirit was give
Yeah,
this child this book. And
yeah,
this day, that must be the reason why I bought it. Because
yeah.
to this day, I've never read the book. But I
Wow, you
shout out
just
the book. It saved, I know it saved at least one person's life, and that's that little boy who was in my
Amen.
classroom.
Amen. You said something really that struck me right there, actually, because often, my wife will joke with me. Dana will joke with me and say things like, "I don't know where you get the things that come out of your mouth sometimes because I know you, right?" And I said, "Well, I got to be honest with you, babe." I said, I don't know where it comes from either. I feel like I'm a tool, and as long as I remain to be that open vessel and just have faith that whatever's coming through me is supposed to be said to this person at the moment, or is, whatever. I don't know where it comes from either. Um,
I can relate.
Many of the books that I've recommended, I've never read. Many of the things that I recommended, I didn't do. So I don't know where some of that stuff comes from. And when you just said that, it clicked for me. I mean, it reminds me of my process, and I think as long as we know that, I think it humbles me, to be honest with you, to know that it's, I'm not smart enough to give some of the feedback that I'm given. I'm not wise enough for some of that, but I am open enough, and I am willing to be that instrument.
I think
And it
it's
sounds like that's what. Hmm? Say that
I
again.
was with what you were saying. I think it goes with our purpose and our assignment.
Right.
You
Right.
know, we all be are here for a certain reason.
Right.
And me knowing you too, you are
Mhm.
very influential
Thank you.
in a wealth of ways. Like
Mm.
you've been instrumental in my life, you know. And so I believe the same thing as far as with me and my experiences, they were all for a greater purpose.
Mm.
So, like you said, I might not know the book. I might not know. I might even mess up the word because I like to create my own words. But you gonna, I'm gonna reach you one way or another, and I thank God for that.
I like that. All right. Well, there's another word that you just threw out. God for that. All right. So, full disclosure, I'm not a Christian, but I was raised Catholic, and I do use the word God, and I'm not offended by it, and I hope I don't offend by using it. I say the word prayer. I say things like that. I even do prayer, and even though it may mean something different to me than it means to somebody out there, it's one of those topics that I think people like to argue or people like to get offended. I think it ruffles their feathers up a little bit.
Mhm.
I learned that I had to make okay with that whole subject and not allow any of my negative emotion about the whole thing to get in the way of helping other people or even to use certain words. I don't like
Mhm.
giving power to words. That's why I struggle with this last 5 or 10 years that we've been in existence here right now, where we're at in today's society. I don't like giving power to words, and I don't think that we should. I come from a time where it was, sticks and stones may break my bones, and I really come from that world. In the 70s and 80s, there were certain ways that people addressed Latinos like me, and there were certain things that people would say when I would go home and tell my parents. They didn't understand it because they didn't come from this country, so they didn't understand how that would be offensive. And I'd be like, "Well, you don't understand, you know what I mean? Wetback is a bad word, things like." And they wouldn't get it, right? And so I was never raised to take words offensively. I was told that it's nothing; they don't mean anything. Um, you know, uh,
Really?
yeah, I was raised to not feel like a minority, to not be a minority, to just stay focused on the future. This is a beautiful country. This is a beautiful world. This is a beautiful life. Stay focused on a sense of purpose, a higher value, work ethic, honesty. Be what you say you're not liking. What you're not liking out there, that's irrelevant. If you're good, then there is good. If you're honest, then there is honesty. If you're trustworthy, then there is trustworthiness out there. Instead of just focusing on, well, look, see, they're this, they're this. And so I have very good parents that raised me differently, which allows me to be a lot more accepting to people. But you said the word God, and I do
Oh yeah.
believe that that I do believe that most people believe in something, regardless of
Hmm.
what we all say. I think deep inside we all believe in something. Now, some people want to use particular words like God, and some people want to use aliens or that we're in a petri dish or whatever. I don't care what or science. I think all that is the same. In my view, all of that is the same. Science, industry, God, aliens, that's all still to me the same power source. To me, it's all the same. Uh, so when you say thank God, because I know
Hmm.
you've used that in your life. I know you've used your faith in your life, just as I've used my faith and how I believe in my life. How do you use that in your messaging when you talk with
Good.
somebody? Because you do deal with people that are struggling quite a
Hmm.
bit.
Interesting that you say that, because I don't bring God into my therapy unless I know that this person is comfortable in that space.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I do say that when you said about not being religious or whatnot, I am
Right.
not either, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't know that. And so I was
Mm-hmm.
born Christian.
Mm-hmm.
My fault. I'm a PK. I'm the preacher's kid. Um, but I refer to myself as spiritual, and that's because of we can have a whole show about like my beliefs, which I
Good.
might be talking out. My mama will call me when we get off this show.
Right.
But I believe in a higher power.
Yes.
I for me, and I'm gonna say God.
Mm-hmm.
God has I've received so many miracles in my life
Mm-hmm.
where there has to be, in my mind, someone, God, protecting me and overseeing my life. Now, does that mean, which is funny, I was a Seventh-day Adventist as well as United Methodist, both. And
Interesting.
so I say that to say, for me, you learn as a child, like if you're not a Christian, if you're not Baptist, if you're not,
Mm.
as if we were so separated, right?
Right.
And so
Right.
I
Right.
believed, okay, if this person like you Catholic, they're gonna go to hell because you're supposed to be Seventh-day Adventist.
I got
I never believed in that. And
yeah.
so for me, I believe in the heart. I believe in the
Mm-hmm.
soul. I believe that you can be in church 7 days a week, and
Right.
I've been there because I was a PK,
Mm-hmm.
and bust what some would say hell wide open, or not be a good person, right? The people on the front pew, some of them have no heart whatsoever, and the individual down the street who's never even walked a foot into church
Mm.
will have a beautiful heart out of everybody. And so that's why I'm on the spiritual side of
Right.
the Christianity side. And if you get deeper and you think about, see, now you got me going deeper, the Muslims and Christianity, if you really look at it, everyone kind of has the same similarity. It's just the book and
Yeah.
the way
Oh
that
yeah.
they believe. It's really, really a lot similar to
Well,
be so
that's why I know something's there. That's why I know it's something because first of all, I don't believe in imagination, and this is just me, and this is just us talking. People, this is just a couple of grown folks talking nonsense sometimes, but maybe it makes sense. I don't know. It's our thing, and you have your thing, and hopefully we can all just agree. I don't know if I'm right. I just hope that I am for my sake. You know what I mean? But I really don't care who's really right. I'm not trying to be right. I'm just trying to live lovingly, I guess, is the best way. I want to love myself and I want to love other people. And for me, my faith allows me to love myself and love other people. Does that make sense? I mean, that's the whole purpose to me of faith, is to love yourself and love the world you're in and the people in it.
yeah.
And as long as I'm doing that, I feel like whatever it is going to give me a pass or say did a good job. Whatever that's my belief. So going into that, I also don't bring a lot of uh, I would say I don't bring any religion into helping somebody, but I do bring my faith into helping them based
Mhm.
on what I'm hearing in my head, based on what I'm feeling like might be needed to them. And I'm going to give an example. We've heard terms like there are no atheists in foxholes, and you've heard things like that, right? And when I see people that are suffering time and time again, over and over again, I mean, just over and over again, just they attempt a certain way to get better and they fail. They attempt a certain way to get better and they fail. They attempt a certain way to get better and fail. And at the end of the day, I know that the people that I feel hurt the most and the most deep, something very intense faith wise changed in their life, which is how
Mhm.
they got out of it. So if you do come to me, people out there, if you do come to me and you've been struggling over and over and over again for years, and it's just something's just not working for you, I am probably going to go to that place for you because
Mhm.
I do believe that a good sense of spirituality, I like the way you said it, because spirituality is where I'm at, right? My relationship with myself and the world around me. That's what I believe it is. I think that's absolutely necessary to
Mhm.
keep hope alive. to keep moving forward. Because if not, then why do this existence, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason I bring it up with you is because we're going to use words like that on this show, right? We're going to say God on this show. We're going to say prayer, and neither one of us are saying it to offend anyone or to exclude anyone, or to say that if you use different words for whatever you
Mhm.
believe in, not trying to offend that either, not trying to upset that card either. That's none of our business.
And
Just
I've
please
said that
understand.
before.
What was that? Say that again.
Said that before
Mhm.
because, and I'm gonna use God again.
Amen. I
God
say
has
amen.
been.
There's another one. Amen. I say amen all the time, and it's not like the oh man, but you want to take it that way, go for it.
Right. Oh
To me, it's like
gosh.
saying
Okay.
right on, right on, right on. It's the
Hey.
same.
So God, I am a strickler. Like I will scream to the mountaintops about how amazing God, I'm using the word, has
Yeah,
been
yeah.
to me. And there are moments
Mhm,
where I have my moment with God where
mhm.
I have to give him the honor. I'm going a little deep now, the honor and praise. And I will say, hey, I'm not trying to offend you, but I do believe in God, and I have a moment right here. And so I do think that's a good part too. It's
Yeah.
just being transparent and being open. Never to. I'll give you an example, and this is far stretched too. Someone just coming up, not knowing your faith or what you
Yeah.
believe in, and they are
Mhm.
speaking in tongues over you, and someone's like, "Whoa," So I do understand the boundary and the respect for it, but
Right, right,
also
right,
the
right.
truth. And if we talk
Yeah.
about God, you're not supposed to be ashamed to speak of God.
Yeah.
And I'm leave that alone. But I
Yeah.
will tell you this too, since we're talking, and it kind of twinkles in, and I'm not. I want someone to hear this.
Yeah.
I told you my father was a preacher.
Yes.
But what I didn't tell you was that he was a crack addict
Mm.
and more. I didn't tell you
Mm.
he was a sexual predator. I didn't
Mm.
tell you that he was on America's Most Wanted.
Mm.
I didn't tell you he committed suicide. And so for me, that's a part of also the spirituality versus the Christian. I was in the church when he was high all week and we didn't know where he was, but we knew on Sunday morning he would bring his high behind into home,
Mm.
go in his little room, write his service, go do Sunday school, preach a service, and I was standing on top of the in the
Mm.
pew and sing while he called people to the altar. So that is the other side of
Mm.
me and God, and so much that I have experienced.
Wow.
So
Thank
I
you.
just had to
Thank
throw.
you. No, thank you for sharing that. And I'm gonna that reminds me of something else. I don't hold it against faith in general when a person is hypocritical or lives
Mhm.
what we would call through hypocrisy. I have no issue with that because that doesn't change the words he may have said while on that
Mhm.
pulpit. I'm saying
Right.
his flaws are his flaws. His life is his life, and his end is his end. Right? That's something that he has to answer to. Is how I feel. But what he
I
said
almost
when he's up there, I'm sorry. Say that again.
no, I was about to say preach.
Yeah. Well, because I feel that regardless of how he was living and the turmoil
Hmm.
he must have experienced, that doesn't mean he wasn't a vessel when he was needing to be a vessel.
Hello.
And so I think those are the kinds of things that I find to be, for me, uh, things that are important because I can easily get angry at stuff like that. I can easily get down on everyone with a certain faith because, oh, look at that person, he doesn't live perfectly, therefore nobody, they're all like that. Everyone that's a preacher does this, or every Christian is like this. And that to me is just that's not going to benefit my life to think things like that. It's not going to benefit my world to think things like that. I mean, like I said, I was raised in the Catholic Church. How many stories of Catholic priests were out there at a given time? I remember when they were just coming out with stories in the 90s. I think it was the 90s or the early 2000s. Story after story after story after story. So that happened. And I feel for all of the victims that occurred to, and I feel for all of the people that may have felt that destroyed their certain image in their own personal faith. But hopefully, they were able to come around to whatever helps them in the end. Go ahead.
But the problem with that is that these individuals who are leaders in the church, they're oftentimes seen as God
Yeah.
instead of understanding that they're
Mhm.
man. And
Right.
man have flesh, and as
Yeah.
man and woman we sin.
Right.
And so
Right.
I think that is the issue and the challenge into the church is
Right.
because of how they put them on such a pedestal
Yeah.
and like this is real. They deal with real life just like you.
Hmm.
Don't
Hmm.
you're over here mad at the fact that they might be doing certain things. Um, but hey, no one is perfect. When we talk
Yeah.
about perfection, no one is perfect other than God. So why is
Right.
it that you put this person on such a pedestal to where when they fail you,
Mm.
your mind, how and why did they fail you?
Right. And abusive privilege goes back to the very first generation. I mean, I don't know in any time period on earth or in any country on earth where there's not someone abusing privilege.
Mm-hmm. They're
I
doing
mean, I
it
know,
now.
yeah, I know
They
we're in a time where
got
this
it.
is what I always this is what I always joke with Trinity because he's that white dude, right? So everybody say, oh, you guys have the privilege. That man didn't have privilege. I mean, we could think he did. There's some people out there with privilege, but let me tell you something. I have more privilege than him. Some of us have. We don't have to be a certain type. I mean, we try to put that word on only a certain type of person. Let me tell you something. Anybody in a situation that has a position of authority in any given situation or a position of influence in any certain area of life has privilege. And I'm going to give you an example. I had a I I can go into certain neighborhoods that certain people can't. Isn't that a privilege? Because if someone else
Too.
goes in, like if you go in that neighborhood, you might have issues in that certain neighborhood that I go
Oh,
into, but I can go into it. And
not
you
me.
can go into certain neighborhoods that I can't, and you'll have a certain privilege in certain neighborhoods that I can't. Now, we all have to acknowledge that. Go ahead.
But there is a certain privilege
That
that
we all want.
stomps.
That we
Yeah,
all want.
yes, the one
What
we
is
still
that?
fight.
Yep.
It's just
Yeah.
I don't know, like it
You're
just
trying to
is the
get it.
truth.
You're still trying to get it.
Yes, that
I got
privilege.
you. I got
It's
you.
sad.
But
And I would say there
there's a
are
secret to
still
it, though. There's a secret to it. You want to
there's
know?
a
You know
history.
what? You know what? All right. There's a history, but the history again, history doesn't start in the United States. History's like in every generation, every country. You can go to Egypt. You know what I mean? Like, look, they're still fighting over it right now. That we're in a war right there with one of the oldest wars of that specific issue, of that issue. Like the the Jewish people have been, this is like forever, right?
Right.
So,
So
but
sad.
so let's talk about something like that because I like this. This is where it's fun to have a new person to talk about this kind of stuff because in helping people we got to go to some deeper wounds sometimes because it's those deeper wounds that keep you sick, right? Our secrets keep us sick, our lies keep us sick, our wounds, our pain, our traumas keep us sick. So let's talk about some of that because that's kind of stuff. That theme used to be very traumatic to me. As the first generation in this country, to me, the only people that I really could relate to are other first generations in this country. Like I know that I walked into a white black issue in this country. I know that's the thing in this country: white black, white black, black white, white black white. But there's a
Not
lot
even
of
white
us that
minority.
okay. But
White
what
minority.
I've okay white. What does that mean? What do you mean?
Uh we put Latinos with the black folks, right?
Yeah, sometimes, and I'm going to say sometimes because let me tell you something. Latinos are very racist too, and I've seen a lot of black people are racist too. So it goes both ways. Like we're together when it's convenient. You know what I mean?
We are smashed together though. It's something
We
about
do,
Latino
we do,
black.
we do a little.
We're not meshed with the Asians or anything. Like Latinos
Because they
and
they
black
just
people,
came in
y'all
a
are,
different way.
yeah.
They refuse to acknowledge that part. Like they're like, we're not part of you. Uh, but,
At
but
all.
but let me get to what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is in that part where you feel less than. And if your family and the institutions above you admit, yeah, you're less than, then how can I come up? So there's a secret that I think that I learned, JoJo, and so see if you can follow what I'm thinking here. I think the
Okay.
secret is you got to cut bait. And here's what I mean by that. When I saw that class be able to do is they were able to separate themselves. Like, people don't get offended if I use certain terms. Please don't get offended. And if you do, I apologize because it's not meant to be offensive. I feel what white people were able to do very effectively is to separate themselves by bringing out a new term, and the term was white trash. I think they were able to like cut bait. Like, what we do not feel represents us well, we're not going to defend. They just don't defend it. They just go, that's white trash. It's like, oh, that's very convenient, which is what I feel many other minority classes fail to do. We tend to back or support even the worst of us without cutting bait because we're afraid that if we let them attack the worst of us, they're going to attack all of us because that's what we're told. That's not a truth. We have to learn to cut bait. If we cut bait, we have a better chance of getting to where we got to get to. But we don't tend to do that. We tend to like right now with this immigration thing, we tend to say, oh, no, he's a great guy. Just because he's a Latino, don't deport my Latino friend. He's a Latino. No, man, if that was like a Russian, would I care as much? You know what I mean? No, I got to admit my biases. And I got to admit that if I have bias, guess what? Everybody has bias. That's just the way it is. You got bias, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But we have cut bait.
Oh, you think so?
Yes, there is a cut of bait. I feel that regardless of our cut bait, we still are smashed together and considered to be, a whole. So it's like, I hear it all the time. It's like on social media, I'll give that example.
All right.
And all the, all the Black foolishness goes on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the post. And everyone's like, well, where is the Black excellence? Because we got a whole lot going on more than this ghetto stuff. And so there is a separation, but I feel like for some reason we minorities are put in the same bowl. Whereas, and I'm the same way as Louis, don't look, I love you. I love all people, but white trash still has white privilege over minorities.
Well, I don't want that. I don't want that privilege that they may have. I don't want it. Whatever that is, that privilege is, I don't want, because they don't feel like they have it. Let me tell you something. I don't want it. Whatever that is, no, because there's a secret sauce in this country. The secret sauce is the following. The secret sauce is if you've been here more than one generation and you haven't been able to hop up, you might get stuck exactly where you're at. It becomes a class system because the biggest rise is that first generation. That's the biggest boom. So it's almost like you got to treat your mind like you just got here. If you raise your kids to feel like they've already been here for 400, 500, 600 years, that's not what you want. You want to act like you just got here. If you act like you just got here, you'll go full force forward. It's like taking a rubber band and pulling it back. You got to let it go. You got to let the rubber band go for it to propel forward. If you just keep pulling back, you ain't getting nowhere. And we see that. So with that class of people that you say has privilege, I don't want that privilege that they got. I don't want it because that's not going to change anything in 20 years, 40 years, in 60 years, 100 years. I want the mentality that my parents had when they first came into this country. This is the land of opportunity. This is a beautiful place. We're going to build a family here. Let's move forward. I love that. And that's what I'm saying. That new colonist mentality. That person who walked on this. I always think, you ever think of this when you go, when it's hot outside? Because we're in Florida, right, JoJo? When it's hot outside, I think about some of my ancestors with their metal uniforms. Them conquistadors, them Spanish people that first came to the West in metal and walking around. I'm like, I would have got back on the boat and says, nah, man, I'm going back to Spain. This ain't for me. This really is not for me. There's alligators here. There's snakes here. I'm not macheteing my way through this jungle, man. It's swamps. It's not even real land, man. I'm going back. You know what I mean? But they did it. They felt whatever they felt like they were doing, they felt like they were doing something right. Now, wrong is now in historical, we could say, oh, they were bad, they did this bad, they did this, they treated these people horrible, they lied for these people, they stole from these people, whatever. It's still a hell of a lot of determination, to walk in a metal suit,
Mm-hmm.
doing this. And every single one of us, regardless of what culture you came from, you do not want to live the experiences of those before you. I don't care where you come from. That was hard regardless.
I can't imagine being a slave.
Oh my God. No.
I
Yeah, but you're
I
also
feel
coming from a free mentality of what a slave would be. So your starting point
house.
is hell no. I would never want someone to tell me what to do, how to do it, where to live, who to live with. No, and work for nothing. And I got to do
Yeah,
whatever you tell me to do. And I can't say anything. And if I say anything, you're gonna hurt me. No, could never do that.
I'd have been Harriet Tubman.
But yes, but it's like my one of my cousins one time told me, when he told me that he had never seen snow before. I said, "What? You never seen snow? Oh, that's horrible." And he goes, "It's not horrible because I've never experienced it." And that I use that, even though that sentence had nothing to do with so many other teachings that I've used it for. I use that even for that what you just said. If I've never experienced different, if I don't know different, it's no different. I have a dog that's a domestic dog. I have 2 dogs. They're domesticated. They don't know the difference of what it would be like to live wild. They just don't know the difference. So they don't know that that's an issue. They live
Yeah.
with me. They're with me, right? Whereas the cat that I got, well, you try to keep that cat in the house. He adopted us. He was a wild cat. He was a street cat. So he owns the garage, but he says, open that garage, let me out all the time. And so he lives out in the community and comes home when he wants to, tells us how, when he wants to eat, what he wants, when he wants it. He'll give us love when he chooses to give us love. If not, he's gone for days if he wants to be. He knows the difference. You can't domesticate that cat. That cat knows the difference. So you see,
No.
that's what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying. The side of it that for me is that even though we have come far, we haven't come that far. And so in order for us not to have, I don't know, like, how did you word it?
Resentment?
In order that's I don't like that word. When you were saying about coming to the world and nothing else, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, we can't get to that place. And so because in a lot of ways, yes, we've been set free from other stuff, but there's still stuff from slavery and segregation that follows. And it's even getting worse now, so to speak. So I do believe once there is, I pray one day it'll happen. I probably won't even be on this earth anymore. Hopefully I'll be on another planet because I've been trying to figure out.
Yes.
I'm hoping that we go to galaxy to galaxy. But anyway, that's something else. But I hope that at some point there is no white privilege and it's just privilege, and I have an idea.
Okay. Your idea.
One of my ideas is that, and it might not, let me just tell you my idea. Starting now, right? Yeah. When we are born, there is no more white, black, Asian, white, Hispanic, black, Hispanic. Are you an American or are you not? Because in other countries, it's not, they don't say, oh, I'm a white Puerto Rican. Like you're Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? You're Chinese. They don't say, I'm a white Chinese. I'm a black Chinese. I'm a Latino Chinese.
Do they have black Chinese in China?
Yeah.
What?
They have, like in Africa, they have white.
Wait. What? You're saying there's a black neighborhood in China of black Chinese people?
Yeah, they're everywhere. Like for us to think that
I gotta go there. I gotta go check that out. I got to.
So jaded, but that's how we're so jaded to think that a Chinese is just a Chinese. Yeah. No, Chinese are from China. But there are black Chinese people. They're white. Like
yeah, but they live in New York. The black Chinese people live in New York. They live in Los Angeles. It's San Francisco. They migrated. The Chinese came here and they mixed with a black person. or a black GI was in Vietnam or was in Korea and got with a woman there and they had babies. But come on now. You mean generations ago? You're saying 400 years ago, black people made their way into China too? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know how I mixed up. I don't know. I can't tell you how we all got here.
I don't know
because
either. I don't know.
I
don't believe them anymore because I don't believe that. I don't even believe the historical books anymore as much as I used to because I see the way they twist the current truth. So it's like, well, maybe they've always been liars.
They're books. Look, and that's my thing with the Bible. I use the Bible as an, oh gosh, please don't. When I tell you,
don't get us in trouble. Don't get us struck down. No,
we're gonna strike me down.
Well, that's good that you're in a different location. Then I'll be able to watch it.
I'm challenging somebody's like, oh yeah, but a lot of people understand what I'm saying. Okay. The Bible, for me, the Bible was created how many billion trillion years ago? And you mean to tell me that we can't, if we get in the line right now, Louis, like 10 of us and play telephone, by the time it gets to the 10th person, it's going to be completely altered, different. And so these versions of the Bible change within who writes it. And so do they have their similarities? Absolutely. But the way the Bible is written is based off of someone's interpretation. You gotta go back to the chosen people again. I'm telling you that the secret of all of that conversation, the Jewish people have it. Whatever they got, I want a little piece of it. Because they were heavily persecuted, they were heavily enslaved, they were heavily hated they're still heavily hated by so many people, and they persevere, they still charge on. Their faith is so strong. Their unity is so strong. Man, I have a lot of respect for how they have persevered throughout the years. How you doing, Marissa, on Facebook Live? How are you? Hi.
So that's and at the same time, what was that?
I said there's a lot of success in that community too, which to me goes with they're so unified.
Because they don't have that. Their mentality is different. When your faith is strong enough and you don't waver, you keep the structure of the faith and the structure of where your direction is, regardless. People can't hurt you. That's why I don't like the minority mentality. That's why, even though I know I am one, I don't feel as one. I know it gives me a certain sense of swagger. I know it gives me a certain sense of ability to walk in certain rooms and be in certain situations. But I'm not going to let it penalize me. I want just the good without the bad. I want to be able to have the swagger, say what I got to say. I don't want the bad that comes with it.
I agree. I don't live as a minority.
Yeah. And how we got here, people? What? Go ahead. What was that?
I said, no, I encourage all of us who are seen as minority to live as majority and continue to fight and stand tall to white privilege in hopes of at some point we will be respected as such.
Okay. But as long as we also teach the following, JoJo, understand that each of us have our own type of privilege. And so just as we abuse that, understand that privilege is hard not to abuse, period, no matter what you got or how you have it. Because if anything, as a girl dad, I see the world a whole differently. I don't look at color scheme as much as I did before I had daughters. Once I had daughters, it wasn't about color. It was about gender more for me. I see that a lot stronger. And I see that in every culture, no matter what color they are. I see women at the bottom. No matter what color they are, women get treated like the bottom. In every color, every culture, every faith, every religion, everything. I don't know where these Amazonian women are or where they were, but I haven't found them. So if anyone walks up to me and acts like it's color is the largest, is the hugest barrier, I'll say, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's gender. Gender is the most defining movement, period, is the most defining line.
And as a mama, you know what mine is?
What?
Have black son. It's hard having a black son. It is. Uh, my son was just pulled over. Like, you have to be afraid for your
I know what
son,
you're thinking.
black sons, to get pulled over to the where, you know what we teach our kids, our little boys? Okay, when the police come, you put your hands on the wheel, roll the window down, do not say anything, and that's because, and it's not to say there's not, I'm gonna say cop killing, other races, but the bottom of the food chain are black sons. They have to fight 10 times as harder. I've seen it, and
I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that black son, a lot of black sons have abused a lot of black women. So who's really at the bottom there? You follow what I'm saying? No, but I am. I take it away from the what's acceptable narrative to the true narrative. The true narrative is as a father to women, I'm a lot more affected and offended how women continue to defend bad behavior of bad men.
No, that's a whole nother story right there.
Well, that's a story for another day, and we're out of time. So we're gonna touch on that because we gotta heal. And this is the Couch Live, and it's all about healing. And sometimes our healing is distracted because our pain is so great. We get high, we get drunk, we talk foolishness, we hurt people, we do things. A lot of people out there are able to drink, have fun, and have a good time, and that's great. We're not anti-drug on here. We're just anti-disease. We're not anti-alcohol. We're anti-disease. If you have the disease, give us a call. We'll help you. If you don't have the disease, party on. Drink one for me. Have one for me. Take a toke for me.
We pray for our women and our men.
Amen to that. And Marissa, I love it. Look at that. Look, as a person in a wheelchair, I like what she says. I don't think like a disabled person. Well, you know what, Marissa? Good.
Right.
Amen to that. I don't either. Even though I'm probably more disabled than you, Marissa. Anyway. All right, JoJo, any last words you got to say?
Our black men are still the most challenged in this world.
Oh, come on. I disagree. I did see they got you convinced. They got you convinced that they're worse off than you. No. There's a lot of black men abusing women. No.
We have a better shot. We didn't have a better shot.
No, you don't. I see no. When black men make money, they go get with a different kind of woman. When black women make money, they still stay with black men.
But that's two different things.
You guys defend. I got you. We'll have that conversation another day. I'm just telling you from an outsider. I think you got convinced. I think you're still wearing the veil. Protect yourself, woman. Protect yourself.
No. Women are at a different level. Men
screw up stuff no matter where they go, no matter what color they are. Men screw things up. Power to the woman. Power to the women.
Yes. Power to the women.
That's what I'm talking about. Power to the women.
Yeah,
you don't need to defend them men. Them men don't need your help. Them men are fine. They're good. Power to the women. Anyway, adios, and let's kick it back to WOKB 1680 AM. Power to the women. That's right. 100.7 FM. Adios, amigos. It's time for a taco. Goodbye.